Speaks Talk Radio, where women's words are changing the world.
Hello and welcome to Love Fools with me, your host, Terri Lee-Shield, where we are hopelessly devoted to exploring and embodying the universal language of love. Love Fools is brought to you by Love School, where we explore loving self, others, and everything. Join us there for deeper exploration at www.loveschool.uk. Now for today's episode. Hello and welcome to this next episode of Love Fools. It's me again, Terri. Welcome along. Thank you very much for joining me today. I am going to be talking about the relationship between love and respect. Give a little respect to me. I don't know where that erasure came from. What had in my head was Aretha. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. Again, many apologies. I'm not a singer, but welcome to my crazy little world of my mind and how it connects words and sounds. But welcome along. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is quite a juicy dynamic, I think. When I started thinking about it and really contemplating what I want to say and what I wanted to explore with you today, there was quite a lot came up. Love and respect are really big, important dynamics, needs, desires that we have, I think, as humans. And do the two go hand in hand? You would think so, I think. You would hope so, would be my initial response to it. But that's not always the case, is it? And a lot of people who might be listening to this show, who might be joining over at Love School, who might be looking for support around the idea of love or relationships, are potentially missing these ingredients in their understanding of what love is and how we treat each other. Because respect is something that we all crave, that is really important, potentially as a foundation of love, and potentially respect is a universal love language. So let's discuss that. Let me know what you think. This will be streaming over on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, hello, and let me know what you think in the comments. You can also comment through my social media, either through loveschool.uk or me personally, Terri Lee-Shield. Hello, I'm your host, Terri, today. We have got some amazing shows coming up for you as well that I'm lining up with special guests to start to talk a little bit more with other people, so you're not just listening to me, and we're exploring lots of different dynamics around the universal language of love, which I'm really excited about, and that will all go into plan. We'll be starting from the next episode. So let's unpack a little bit about the relationship between love and respect, and what does respect mean in love, and is respect a universal love language? Often in unhealthy relationships, whether this is with your family, in a couple, even with friends, sometimes people can confuse the idea of attachment with love. And attachment has a lot of dynamics involved with it, like expectations, making assumptions, wanting people to be as we would like them, wanting people to stay the same, having ideas around control in the relationship and controlling other people potentially a lot around attachments. Now there's a lot of attachment styles people have in relationships, and this episode is not about that. But I do think when an attachment is formed, it is when we let go of, transfer, release, or lose respect, often in relationships and in love. And it took me quite a little while of healing and exploring, really getting into the nitty-gritty, the deep stuff of the relationship dynamics that I have had to navigate in my life, to understand that what I was challenged with was a lack of respect within love, or my idea of love, or what I was told was love. And I would really, really love to unpack it a little bit with you. Now, I have been doing a bit of research, and I have done a bit of a search of definitions, because I love the semantics of words, what words mean, what words, what we understand about words. And so I really wanted to define these words for this show. Love, I've unpacked a few times, so have a look in some of the early shows. Episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 are really unpacking the idea of love and self, others, and everything, and what that might mean. And all throughout Love Fools, we explore the depth of love. But just for this episode, I wanted to have a look at what the definition might be, the definition of love. So when you put into, well, I don't use Google, I use a Ecosia. If you haven't heard of that, everyone use a Ecosia. They plant trees, much better for the environment. But what pops up is, with love, is to feel a deep affection for someone, to feel a deep romantic or sexual attachment to somebody, or to like or enjoy very much. That's when love is a verb. That's when love is a doing word. Now, when love is a noun, it comes up as an intense feeling of deep affection, a feeling of deep romantic or sexual attachment to someone, affectionate greetings conveyed to someone on one's behalf, a formula for ending an affectionate letter, so with love, or a personalized figure of love, often represented as Cupid. That was the definitions. There's some other in the dictionary.com. Love is an intense, deep affection for another person. Love can also refer to a strong like, liking something a lot. I thought that was interesting. Most of the definitions of love are pretty as simple as that, actually. That you really like something, really, really like it, and you have really affectionate feelings for it. Now let's have a little look at respect. What is respect? What is the definition of respect? Let's have a little look again. So on the first search, respect is to admire someone or something deeply as a result of their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Respect is to have due regard for someone's feelings, wishes, or rights. Respect to avoid harming or interfering with. Respect to agree to recognize and abide by a legal requirement. That's when respect is a verb. If respect is a noun, it's a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something, elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements, a state of being admired or respected. It's a person's polite greetings used to express the speaker's approval of someone or something in an informal way, and to have due regard for the feelings, wishes, or rights of another. On vocabulary.com, it comes up saying respect is a way of treating or thinking about someone or something. If you respect your teacher, you admire them and treat them well. People respect others who are impressive for any reason, such as being an authority, being older, or in a position of authority. On the Cambridge Dictionary, respect is admiration felt or shown for someone or something that you believe has good ideas or qualities. I'm not going to go into any more definitions because I think we get the picture. I hope we get the picture. Trying to express the differences in the definitions of these two things. So love, in the definitions that is in the dictionary and stuff, is just you really like something. Respect is admiring it, is giving something the I was going to say the respect it deserves, but respecting someone's rights, treating them in a way that doesn't harm them or interfere with them. Respect is admiring and listening to somebody, considering them, being considerate. So these two words, like I say, quite meaty words, quite meaty ideas around how we treat each other, for me, go hand in hand, although they're defined really very differently. So looking at just them definitions, you can love someone without respecting them. You can really like someone, love them, but not have any regard for their rights. You can love someone and not have any concerns about whether or not you're causing them harm. You can love someone and not think they're a good person. And I mean, that's real. That is the reality of what so many of us are having to navigate in our lives, in our day-to-day lives, in our relationships, in our dynamics for family. The idea that you can love someone, but you don't have to show them respect. And it was certainly what I have had to navigate, and still do have to navigate at times. And I just find that really, really interesting, because actually, when a lot of us are potentially searching for love, searching for healing, looking to understand love, looking to understand abuse or neglect within relationships, it very often comes down to a complete lack of respect. That we, someone might well love us, really like us, or really like what we do for them, maybe, or give to them, but not show us the respect we feel we deserve, we desire, we want, or we require. And isn't that just really, really interesting and eye-opening, that we can be in these relationships, in these entangled dynamics with people that we call love, or that are told to us this is love, but it can be completely void of respect. And that, for me, when I've really looked and clarified those definitions, I would kind of rather be respected than loved in a relationship. Like, regardless of whether you really, really like me or not, whether you have affectionate feelings for us, I want my rights to be respected. I would like you to not cause me any harm or interfere with my life or my sovereignty. Personally, to me, that feels much more aligned with what it is I've been seeking for such a very long time. And wow, that was just like such an eye-opening, mind-expanding concept to kind of hold on to really think about and embody. Personally, I'm not sure that you can when we talk about a love relationship or the dynamics of love, being in a loving connection with somebody, find that successfully without respect. And very often it would be having that love, or how it was defined, as I just explained, as strong affection, and a strong admiration, or really liking somebody, but without respect is what leads to the complexity of abuse and neglect in relationships. I personally, at the beginning of this journey with Love Fools, and like I say, if you would like to listen to that in episode 1, I talk a lot about what is love. It might be episode 2, actually. I might have been introducing myself in episode 1. Anyway, have a little listen to some of the early episodes. I like to think of love as nurture and protection. Wanting the best for someone, something, so you keep it safe and you help it grow. You give what it needs to thrive and create an environment where that person is safe. Potentially, I suppose, if you then look at the definition, so it can be liked, so you can like it for longer, so you can admire it for longer, so you can really have that thing, a person in your life, because they want to be. Because we want that thriving environment for that thing that we like, that we really admire. And potentially how we get it when we start talking then about the universal languages, the universal love language is through definitely one of the ways is through respect. One thing that I've noticed, and it was something that came up again and again and again and again and again, especially when I was unpacking some of the abusive dynamics in some of the love relationships that I had, was very confused about and was really trying to understand, is the way that we can treat or talk to each other compared, once we're comfortable with somebody, once you are attached to somebody, once you think, this person is in my life, they are not going anywhere. For example, if you're married, if you have made a long-term commitment to somebody, if you have a child, a parent, we kind of have these attachments that we think, well, that person is in my life regardless. And that regardless is a little bit dangerous. That's like regardless of how I treat them, regardless of what unfolds between us, they're mine. There's a sense of ownership there. There's a sense of attachment. And when we have that, we can become more comfortable, can't we? And I noticed for a very long time, just living through my life, how people would speak to people, the language they would use, the body language, the ways they would communicate with people who they had these attachments with, where they were comfortable. So especially, like I said, their spouses, their children, their parents, siblings, those people in these long-term attachments. And it's as if the comfort allows us to negate a little bit of respect. When we create that intimate bond with somebody and we can see all of them, so we're not just seeing one aspect of them, we see somebody's flaws, we see their ups and downs, we see where they can fall short in some areas, but then we can also, if we should be able to also see where they thrive and where they do well. But very often, I think potentially just because of the environment that we are educated in, the environment of society that very much wants to, that has a bit of a competitive nature at the minute, it wants to kind of point out each other's flaws in order to make us thrive or strive, I guess is probably a better word, strive to be better, strive to meet the standards, meet the expectations of this collective agreement of society, right? So when we are in these more intimate bonds with people, some of their communication can be really awful. Like I've overheard or been witness to people saying things to the children, their partners, siblings that they would never even dream of saying to anyone else. Especially not an authority figure. So one of the things in that definition was that you give respect to authority figures, someone who's older or someone who's achieved something like a role in society. Imagine, would you speak the same to a judge, to a police officer, the same way you would speak to your child or your brother or sister or your partner? And if not, why not? If not, why not? It's a really important question, I think. Because if you would show that stranger a level of respect just on face value, just on the value given to them by a uniform or by one particular achievement that they've been able to make in their life, if you were able to offer respect to that person that you didn't know, but then not offer the same respect to somebody you're in a intimate, comfortable arrangement with, what's going on in that dynamic? Can you really be affectionate, and can you really admire and really like somebody and then not treat them with respect, not honor their wishes, not think they're a good person or have good ideas or have made strides of achievement? Is that possible? And of course, love has other sides. Love has depth. That's the whole point of Love School, and it's the whole point of this show, Love Fools, right? That when we are loving somebody or learning how to love, there are lines that there's lines that we've got to navigate of, can we accept this person's flaws? Can we accept the side of people in an intimate relationship that we don't show to the public, that we don't show to everybody? But then I suppose the mastery comes when someone has shown us their vulnerabilities, when someone has shown us where they fall short. We're given a choice then as to, one, how we're going to treat them afterwards, and how that affects the dynamic in our relationships, and the level of respect that we show them. If somebody is treating you that way, if somebody is treating you badly, or if someone is treating you in a disrespectful way, it kind of forces you to really think, doesn't it, about whether you want to be in a relationship with that person, whether you still admire them, whether you still really like them, or do you love them? In some relationships, I think that's a lot, can be potentially a lot easier to hold on to, especially when I talk to parents. Parents have often, not in every case, often can have this sense of unconditional love for their children, that even despite their shortcomings, they still love them. But do they always respect them? Some parents do, of course. Of course, some parents do. Some parents don't. I just found that dynamic really, really speaking to me this week. Ideas like expectations, making assumptions, expectations of people's responses, people's behaviors, expectations of what people are going to give to you, give and receive, how you can treat people, making assumptions over how they'll respond or what they should or shouldn't tolerate from you. That dynamic that's often underlying, or I suppose in the additional backpack of, well, I love you, so you should put up with this behavior, is completely void of respect. Because in respect, if we are really honoring somebody's desires, needs, wishes, these definitions that we explored, having due regard for someone's feelings, wishes, or rights, Well, anyone who's been in an abusive relationship, where somebody's belittling you, bullying you, calling you names, when you're arguing past a point of any sort of debate or decency, when it's just to harm each other, especially in family dynamics. This is what's brought this up for me this month. Being expected to tolerate really bad behavior, a real lack of fundamental respect. You know, people not having due regard for my feelings, wishes, or rights, people not admiring or at least having any sort of regard for my positives, my abilities, my qualities or achievements, people who really aren't bothered about whether they harm or interfere with my equilibrium, and having to navigate that. And that's what I realized, that actually it was a lack of respect potentially that leads to or causes a loss of love. If love is focused around, like I say, in this definition where we looked at, if love is focused around a deep affection or liking something very much, when you're not being respected, it's very, very challenging to do that. It's very challenging to love somebody who doesn't respect you, or to, stay in that dynamic of an attachment, and a romantic and sexual attachment, if there's no respect there. How can you have a sexual relationship with somebody if they don't respect your feelings and your rights? How can you, if they don't admire your achievements, how can you have that sexual or romantic attachment? If we're talking about that sort of relationship, it's incredibly difficult. It's, for me, it would be impossible, especially now that I'm more clear on navigating healthier relationships and respecting my own boundaries and loving myself. So yeah, I just really wanted to bring that to you this week, this 2 weeks for this Love Schools episode. And I would really love to think I would really love to hear what you think about this dynamic of love and respect. How important is respect in love? How important are love and respect in relationships for you? Can you have love? Are you quite happy to have love with no respect? Is that possible? Does it exist? Is the lack of respect in a relationship abusive, neglectful? Is the lack of respect in a relationship that you're told, I love you, is that abusive and manipulative? Is it gaslighting? What do you think? Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts, your ideas. Let's unpack this a bit. Can we include respect as a universal love language? What do you think? Let me know over on YouTube. We've got a YouTube channel now as well. If you've not found it yet, it's loveschool.uk. Have a look on there. Let me know if you've made any comments on any of the social media platforms. I would love to hear from you. Or if you would prefer a personal chat, message me directly through Love School. Gosh, this there. I'm sorry for people listening. I was trying to point. I was trying to point at a poster that's in the back of the video, and I'm just having a giggle to myself. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think. Have a little think yourself. And is this universal love language? Is this something that you need and require in a relationship? Is this something you need and require for love to exist in your life? And if it is, where is it not? And if it is something you need, if it's not existing in some of your relationships, how can we set boundaries and make requests in order to gain this respect that we want, desire, and need in our love and in our relationships? Let me all know how you're getting on. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this show, and join me soon with some very special guests where we will be exploring more and more about love and our universal love language. My name is Terri Lee-Shield. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you here listen again on the next show. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Love Fools, where we have been exploring and embodying the universal language of love. Love Fools is brought to you as part of Love School, where we explore what it means to love self, others, and everything. For more information, come and have a look at our site, www.loveschool.uk.